starting a new adventure is always a great experience. In Pokemon Emerald are a lot of different Pokemon already available on the first route alone, like Zigzagoon, Poochyena, Wurmple, and yes, even the starter Pokemon Treeko, Torchic and Mudkip. Let's take only those Pokemon to beat the game as a little Pokemon challenge. Here are the rules. Having a team this early on might be good against the first couple of gyms, but let's begin. Arriving at Route 101, which is the first route of Pokemon Emerald, Professor Birch is seen playing with the Zigzagoon. While he is distracted, I can grab a Pokemon from his bag. Usually, Mudkip is the best starter Pokemon for most runs, and Treeko might be very strong, but Wurmples are available here as well. So I grab Torchic to see if the little fire chicken can beat the game, and should beat up the rival for some experience. The battle was quite easy since I was able to level up beforehand and have focus energy to increase their critical hit rate, which was needed to actually win. Funny how that worked out. Beating the rival, receiving the Pokédex and running shoes, let me start the run for real. First Pokemon to find is Wurmple. I use it in most of my Ruby, Sapphire and Emerald runs. Next is Poochyena, no need for any introductions. It's usually used by the villainous team, and today that's me. And another Wurmple, I need to have both evolutions and hope that they evolve into different forms. And the last Pokemon of the first route is Zigzagoon. I actually look forward to using this one since it can be very strong later on. Now I have to check if both Wurmples evolve into different Pokemons. The first evolves into Silcoon, that's good. Okay, here it goes. The next Wurmple evolves into Cascoon. Perfect. No need to reset and the run can now officially begin. But first a little break to see this Wally kid catch his first Pokemon. I already have my full team ready to go, but everyone starts out small at first. I tried to beat all the trainer in the area to let my team level up and evolve. First is Silcoon into Beautifly. That Pokemon has some good uses later on. And the last evolution for a while is Cascoon into Dustox. One of the most underrated Pokemon in this game. At least I think so. That's enough and the next or first major battle waits. The first gym leader in Emerald lives in Rustboro City and is called Roxanne. This battle was quite hard to beat. I leveled up to 12 with my Pokemon for no real reason. The issue is, my team does not have a good move against her team versus Geodude and I go with Torchic. Ember hits for some damage while Rock Tomb nearly KOs. I mean going to 1 HP, which is as near as it can get. Another Ember, and then going down to bring in Beautifly. It has Absorb and knocks Geodude out from that HP range, but when the second Geodude comes in, the Absorb is double, super effective, but does not KO. That is very sad, letting my Pokemon go down to any rock type attack. I use Dustox next. Confusion is special, but doesn't deal a lot of damage. It's good enough to burn through the potions, which is a plus I guess. After a while, a critical hit does remove the last HP Geodude had. Roxanne's ace is Nosepass and this is very annoying, bringing a very long grind. Dustox doesn't have a chance and I have Poochyena already ready, using the full 6 sand attacks to remove all the accuracy I can. After some time Poochyena goes down to some attacks. But here starts the final stretch, which is about as long as double the time I already needed for the battle. Zigzagoon has Growl to reduce attack and then 15 Headbutt PPs and 35 Tackle PPs. Those have to be enough to KO Nosepass with Oranberry attached. I will cut the battle short, but in the end Zigzagoon survives, just barely, and KOs Nosepass. Roxanne is defeated and I receive the first badge to start exploring the next part of the game. First, a little visit to the Wismore Cave, since Team Aqua is, as usual, not very nice, stealing little Pokemon. Defending the Pokemon brought me to the boss of Devon Core. Well, I retrieved an item, the Grunt Stool, which is more important to the big boss, but to rescue a Pokemon in need sounds a lot nicer. Surfing over to Dewford Town, this is the home for the next gym, but I want to find Steven in the cave first. Bring him a letter to return home, since his parents haven't seen him in a while. No, just surfing back to the Devon Core and receiving the experience share as a reward. I try to use it a bit to level up my team quite evenly, but it's not really needed. The next gym leader is Brawly, who specializes into fighting type Pokemon. This is one of those cases where he was made worse from Ruby and Sapphire to Emerald. Not really, but Makuhita had knockoff in that game and doesn't have it anymore. But I want to have some fun and start with Torchic against his Machop. Seismic Toss can deal a bit of damage, but Ember deals great damage back. The issue is that Machop has guts, and of course, Torchic manages to burn it. So instead of halving the physical attack, it boosted at about 50%, and my chicken Pokemon just goes down right afterwards. Beautifly in, and Gus it is. The move is usually quite weak, but at level 13 it's the best I have. And after a Super Potion, Machop goes down. Next is Tate, and this is the saddest Pokemon Brawly has. It has Reflect, Light Screen, Bulk Up and Focus Punch. So if I press on damaging moves, it cannot win ever. It takes a bit, but it was never close. Last of Brawly's ace, Makuhita. This is the only really dangerous Pokemon, but it has a big issue defeating my Pokemon, considering the double resistance. It was funny that I pivoted into the Poison Sting strategy and immediately hit with Poison. Citrus Berry gives a lot back and later a Super Potion as well, but it only delays the inevitable. Well, actually, Beautifly goes down in the end, but Dustox comes in just to see the poison knocking Makuhita out. Brawly is defeated and I received the second badge. It went as smoothly as I expected it to go, so let's hop over to Slatepot City and check out the situation there. Of course, Team Aqua is here to ruin the day of everyone. They invaded the city, occupied the museum to harass a scientist. This is not nice. Please do not do this again. Beating up the trainer in the area, Torchic evolves into Combusken. This might be the single most important evolution, going from this little chicken into this fighting Pokemon. Huh? Magikarp? What is that? All this training up was very important to face the next big major battle, the rival. This battle is said to be one of the hardest battles in any Pokemon run, but let's find out. First Lombra against my Dustox. I don't think this matchup is fair in any way, but I don't really care. Used Confusion first for some reason and then saw Gust's damage, which was actually very low. It was so low that I started to use Poison Sting to help with the damage for a bit. But in the end, Lombra went down regardless. Dustox is just a great counter. Next Slugma, but Dustox doesn't stand a chance and goes down immediately. Bringing in Combusken for the first time and using Double Kick, which dealt a great amount, so just using another one and it's over for the Fire Slug. Last is Marshtomp and it's also the most dangerous one. I thought I can stay in for a bit, but Mudshot clarified the situation and Combusken is down. Beautifly has absorbed, which is double super effective. I attached a Miracle Seed for a little boost on top and Marshtomp gets knocked out in 2 hits. May is defeated, but I had the good team to beat her. Usually it's not that easy at all. Arriving in Mauville City, before I can even battle the gym, I get the good items. I bought a Harbor Mail in Slatepot City and traded in for a coin case. Afterwards I grab the HM for Rock Smash and get the bike at the bike shop. Only one thing left to do and that is beating Wally, the second rival. Poochyena is unfair against him. Cleaning up the trainers in the area, letting Poochyena evolve into Mightyena. A nice upgrade. Getting Intimidate is very strong. And at level 20, Zigzagoon evolves into Noon. This is the first time a Route 1 rodent is amazing for the rest of the game. Okay, I lied, Raticate was good as well. With that preparation done, I can visit the gym in Mauville City. Wattson's the leader and specializes in electric type Pokemon. Unfortunately, I do not have a great answer, so I have to see how far I can go. He leads with Voltorb against my Mightyena. Voltorbs are very fast and Spark paralyzes immediately. Of course, why wouldn't it? And right afterwards comes a self-destruct dealing a lot of damage. The next is Electrike and I assume to lose Mightyena here in one go, but the electric type used Howl to boost its attack and then Shockwave, which didn't KO, just barely, while both bite connected. Assuming a Super Potion, I switch into Combusken. Now Double Kick nearly knocked it out and Shockwave did decent damage, but one Ember and it's over for the second Pokemon of Wattson. Now comes Magneton and Thunder Wave does paralyze. But Cherry Berry removed it immediately. Ember brought the steel to about half and the burn hits to make it very clear to me what's about to happen. I assume Double Kick could KO from that point too, but I thought Magneton hits Combusken into the red for an ability boost. But that's fine too. Wattson's ace Manectric is last and will use the most amount of time, defeating Combusken before any move. Dustox in and hope that Poison Sting poisons, which worked out in the first try. I didn't know what else to do, and Dustox cannot deal a lot of damage with confusion, so the strategy is to use Protect in one turn and Moonlight in the other. It heals HP about 50%. All that's going on while Poison slowly but surely burns the HP down, but it's not that easy. Citrus Berry, Super Potion and Thunder Wave makes it quite hard to do. At one point I tried to play a bit, switching into Mightyena for the potion turns, then into Beautifly, since I assumed Quick Attack was the move of choice against Mightyena. Using Mightyena again just to switch into Line Noon. HP is high enough to at least try Headbutt, and it was a critical hit, defeating Manectric. Wattson is out of Pokemon and I get another badge. That was a bit easier than I expected, but I'm not complaining at all. On the way to the Meteor Falls, where Team Magma is lurking around, I meet this guy who has a nice TM for Secret Power. In Fire Red and Leaf Green, this TM is amazing, because I can get it before the second gym. Let's see if I will use it here too. At the Meteor Falls is Team Magma trying to steal the meteorite from this nice scientist looking person. Team Aqua came in to break up the crowd, but it's already too late. So it's on me again to solve this issue. At the top of Mount Chimney is Team Magma and Aqua fighting for some reason. I'm just here to retrieve the meteorite, but Maxi, the leader of Team Magma, doesn't like that and we battle. We both start with Mightyena. Maxi only has Bite on his Mightyena, which could deal damage, but I am faster and this is a good thing because I won't flinch because of Bite. And there's absolutely nothing that could happen which makes me miss my moves, right? Well, this one Sand Attack actually let me miss 3 times in a row. It was so bad I switched out into Combustion and just used Double Kick to remove the Dark type dog after it got a defense drop earlier. Next is Camerupt, and I wasn't sure if this battle was already meant to be hard or easy. The difference is that the opponent might not use super effective moves if they do not KO. So I switch out into Beautifly to maybe negate Magnitude, but it wasn't used and instead Tackle came up. That tells me this battle isn't particularly bad and I can just use Stun Spore and some damage to bring it into range for Combustion to KO. But Beautifly went down halfway through. My fighting chicken back in, and of course it was a bit too much damage letting Maxi use Super Potion. After 2 double kicks, and I mean uses of the move, there's another one coming up. That's a bit annoying at first, but it's fine at this point in the game. It could be way worse later on. When Camerupt finally goes down, Maxi has only 1 Pokemon left and that's Zubat. Ember deals less than half, but Wing Attack brought Combustion really low for the Blaze ability to activate and another Ember KOs. Maxi is defeated and that leads to him and his team to leave Mount Chimney. Team Aqua's leader comes up and talks about some stuff, but for me the most important part is getting the meteorite back to trade it in for the TM return later on in Fellabot Town. Down the jagged path into Lavaridge Town. This is the home for the next gym leader Flannery. Fire type specialist is not that great for me, but I have to try my best. She starts with Numel against my Line Noon. I got really lucky and Headbutt let it flinch immediately just to give me the KO right away. Next is Lagma, and again 1 Headbutt and the fire type flinched. That was very good for me. Now comes the big boy Camerupt. This fight took a while since Headbutt did very good damage, but Flannery used the Hyper Potion to regain the lost HP. This went on until both Hyper Potion were used, but Line Noon is so good it was able to win regardless. Last is Flannery's ace Torchic. I knew this might be the end for Line Noon, but stayed in anyway, getting knocked out. Here comes Beautifly. This seems odd, but my goal was to get off the poison off of Poison Sting, but it didn't work. Maybe Dustox has a chance hitting with the Sting and getting the poison off. That is very strong. Attract leads me to switch out into Combustion. At that point it was already too late and I can easily beat up the Mono Fire type. Flannery is out of Pokemon and I get another badge for my collection. Before heading to the next gym, I grabbed a TM for Toxic in the Fiery Path. This is the best weapon to beat a lot of major battles up ahead. And as promised, back in Fellabot Town, trading in the meteorite for the TM return. Should be very useful on Line Noon. The next major battle is Norman, the gym leader of Petalburg City. His team is based on normal type Pokemon. This team is very hard to beat or very easy depending on the setup I have. The battle starts with Norman's Spinner against my Mightyena. It has Psybeam, but Dark is immune to it, letting me do whatever I want. Rock Smash has the chance to lower defense, and that is exactly what I went for. But right at the finish line, Theta Dance was used and I switched into Combustion. First Hyper Potion gone is amazing, but doesn't matter since Double Kick is double super effective and deals double the damage, I believe. I could be wrong. Next is Vigoroth, and this is really serious. Facade deals about half, while Double Kick deals more than half. All Combusken has to do is survive one more hit and then KO with Double Kick in return, which worked out perfectly. Norman chooses Linoon next, and it is faster, defeating Combusken. I bring in my own Linoon, fighting fire with fire, and I see Belly Drum. Thankfully I used return and it is enough to KO, but this would be a disaster. Norman's ace Slaking is here, but it is impossible for Slaking to win. Well, Linoon doesn't stand a chance, and seeing the return damage is actually quite sad. When Linoon went down, I bring in Dustox. Yes, it's that time again. In a loafing around turn, I use Toxic, and I use Protect in every turn Slaking could make a move. That will take a while, because Dustox is really bad at dealing damage, but it is amazing stunning out the opponent. There's a Citrus Berry and a Hyper Potion to go through, but I have enough Protect PPs to win at the end. Norman is defeated, and I get the next badge. Defeating him is very hard and easy at the same time. Hard if I choose to not use Toxic, but easy if I do. With Norman's badge, I am allowed to use Surf outside of battle and can get some nice items. First, the Abandoned Ship. Here I can get the TM for Ice Beam, one of the strongest moves in the game. After talking to Wattson and deactivating the generator in New Mauville, I received the TM for Thunderbolt. I like to see it, but wonder, why isn't a Flamethrower one of the TMs I can get as a gift as well? Anyway, on the way to the next gym, Team Aqua blocked the path, and I have to figure out why that is. At the Weather Institute, the leader of this operation was quite weak and easy to beat, and I can move on. To find May, the rival in this battle, wasn't too interesting. I really don't like that the May has such a weak team. Reminds me of Giovanni in Fire Red and Leaf Green. There are so many things she could have done, so many Pokemon to add and destroy me. I think the only real hard May battle is on Route 110. When she's defeated, she gives me the TM for Fly, easily the best TM in the entire game, because I am lazy. The leader in Fortree City is Winona, specializing in flying type Pokemon. My team is very bad against flying types. I have a fighting type Pokemon and 2 bugs. But as usual, when there's a will, there's a way. First is Swablu against my Linoon. This is usually quite easy, but depends on the moves used. Mirror move is really bad, since Swablu doesn't have a lot of attack and Winona really doesn't like her Pokemon. But the first Hyper Potion was removed already, making this quite a good start overall. Next is Tropius, but it is double weak to Ice, and the Ice Beam from the Abandoned Ship really helps getting damage going, while Aerial Ace isn't too great. Pelipper, however, can be annoying with Supersonic and Protect of course, but sometimes it just doesn't work out and I can push the HP away with Thunderbolt from Wattson, getting this battle over with. Winona's Skarmory, however, can be really nasty. Thunderbolt is super effective but doesn't deal a lot of damage, while Sand Attack can make this battle really hard to win. But I got very lucky, hitting with every move and was able to ignore the second Hyper Potion, defeating Skarmory. Winona's ace Altaria. This battle took a long while, so I won't talk about every turn. I have only 2 options to win here. First, hitting with Ice Beam for double weakness, but it only does about half, so it needs a lot of setup. But the second way is Dustox once again. The issue is that Dustox will lose to a boosted Aerial Ace every time. That's why I need Mighty Enna with Intimidate to lower the attack. This needs to work out perfectly in a way that Mighty Enna goes down while Altaria does not have an attack boost. And then choose Dustox to use Toxic and hope it hits. Missing means losing, and losing is not very good last time I checked. Afterwards it's very important to have enough Pokemon and Protect to let Toxic grow in damage, until finally Altaria runs out of HP and goes back to the Pokeball. Winona is defeated and the next badge obtained, and that means for me to move on to the last part of the Team Magma and Aqua storyline. At the top of Mount Pyre are some grunts, and of course they have nothing nice to do, stealing stuff from the elderly, but I get the key to unlock Team Magma's hideout. Before doing that, I wanted to check out the Lily Cove department store, but May is here to not let that happen. She wants to battle one final time. I think Linoon might be a bit too strong now. Return deals an insane amount of damage, defeating everyone left and right. Well, not really. In the end I had to switch out for Beautifly to beat up on Marshtomp, but it's not even a one-hit KO. I also don't know why it's not a Swampert yet. May is defeated. It was the last battle, just moving on. At a jagged pass, my Magma emblem shook the earth and reveals the entrance to the Magma hideout. Deep inside is the leader Maxi and he plays with Groudon, the legendary Pokemon. But it seems I'm in the way here and we have to battle. First is Mightyena against my Linoon. The idea was to have Mightyena use Swagger, but it went for Scary Face first and then for Swagger. I have the Person Berry ready to remove the confusion and I hope it works out fine. One Super Potion already removed is great. Next is Crobat and Confuse Ray is here to ruin my day. I really dislike confusion. It is so random and it not only removes the turn but also deals damage, which is crazy. After removing another Super Potion it looks a bit bleak. And yeah, my Linoon hits itself sometimes and went down. I bring in my own Mightyena now and a single hit defeats Crobat, but not before getting damage first. Last is Camerupt and while my Mightyena hits for good damage, Earthquake hits and KOs. Choosing Dustox next to hit with Toxic. Yes, that strategy again, but Earthquake easily KOs immediately. I have only 2 Pokemon left and this makes it a bit awkward. Well, I have 3, but Tropius is only here for Fly and isn't allowed to be used in battle. Anyway, when Combusken is in the arena, Camerupt wants to use Earthquake and while Beautifly is here, it uses Rock Slide. So I switch around and hope to let Toxic do the work. It takes a while, but in the end I only have Combusken left, but Camerupt goes down. Max is defeated, but the legendary Pokemon Groudon is now free to do whatever it wants to do. After a call, I went to Slateboard City, celebrating the new submarine, but Team Aqua is already here to steal it, so I can try to get it back. Deep inside the Aqua hideout are Aqua grunts trying to waste my time, so that Archie is able to escape with the submarine. And the worst thing is, it worked out perfectly. I came in just in time to see them escape, brilliant. The whole escape brought in enough experience for my Combusken to evolve into Blaziken, the best Pokemon in the game. It's not even close. So good it had to be banned at one point from competitive play. To be able to chase down Team Aqua's leader Archie, I have to get the ability to use HM Dive, and that leads me to battle Tate and Liza in a double battle for the badge. This battle was very intense. I didn't know how to handle certain situations and tried to just push through with damage first, but realized later that I need to pivot the strategy once I realized that Dustox is a premium target for Psychic. I wanted to use Toxic on Solrock and Lunaton, but got it only off against Solrock. Didn't really matter in the end because Protect was able to remove multiple attacks at once, being the MVP of the battle. But other than that, I was just happy that my team was strong enough to knock Xatu out early and defeating Claydol after a while. I think 4 Hyper Potions are a bit much. If my team is strong enough, they don't really matter, but if both teams are about the same in terms of power, the Hyper Potions push it over the edge. Anyway, they are defeated and I receive another badge, only one more to go. Before moving on, I get to battle against Team Magma one last time. This time as a multi-battle, with Steven on my side. This battle was very easy. Linoon was able to just push on Surf, and when it went down, I could use another Pokemon to clean it up. Not a big deal. That battle was so impressive. Steven is ready to give me the HM for Dive at his house. I can use it immediately and head south. Deep inside the deep sea cavern, I find Archie with Kyogre, the legendary Pokemon. I went all the way down here to find him, so of course we battle. Battling against Archie is always a bit weird. I try to grab the Swagger boost with a Person Berry, but sometimes a simple crit is all it takes to skip it. The Crobat is always an issue. I had the opportunity to use one in a lot of Fire Red and Leaf Green runs. That leads Crobat to be one of the strongest Pokemon in any team, especially when combined something like Confuse Ray with Bite, letting opposing Pokemon to never attack. But the damage is sometimes so low even a Pokemon which is weak against it can win. Blaze Sharpedo, and I assumed Blaziken will just go down against it, but it survived with 1 HP to deliver the final blow, but went down due to Sharpedo's ability. Archie is defeated, but he was able to revive Kyogre regardless. That makes it 2 wild legendary Pokemon and the world is doomed. Nothing I can do, unless... At the top of Spiral Tower is Rayquaza, the legendary air Pokemon. It's a dragon at least, and this one is able to bring Groudon and Kyogre back to their home, letting the world move on as if nothing has happened. Not sure if Archie or Maxi even faced any consequences, but most likely not. The last gym leader is here on Subtopolis City, and that is Hoenn, who specializes in water-type Pokemon. Not exactly what I love to see, but I have no choice and try to get the last badge of the run. Loftus comes first against my Beautifly. This Pokemon, I don't know why, but I just don't get it. It doesn't do anything special, just using Sweet Kiss and hopes for the best. But Beautifly didn't want anything to do with it and just went in for the KO after some turns and a Hyper Potion. Next is Whiscash and I switched into Beautifly, negating Earthquake. Giga Drain is double super effective but doesn't KO in one go. So another hit is needed to defeat it. Now comes Celio. I can switch into Blaziken since Aurora Beam is not very effective. Volcarp is a bit greedy now, but I hope it works out. While Water Pulse comes in, my fighting chicken survives, does not get confused, and I can now go on to knock the Water Ice type out in one hit. Crawdont is part dark, which is weak to fighting as well, so one double kick to bring it back to the Pokemon Center. Juan's ace Pokemon is Kingdra, and this is very hard to beat. I tried to get some good damage going, but it wasn't enough and Kingdra was able to finish Blaziken off. Using Linoon next, I try to deal some damage and hope for the best, but return not only hits, but also crits to beat Kingdra. The battle is over. I received a new badge and can now finally go on to challenge the Elite Four. I have to face Wally on the Victory Road, the real rival of the game, before I can head on to the final challenge of the Pokemon Emerald run. First is the Dragon Flying type Altaria against my Linoon. I have Ice Beam ready and did way over half. That is not a good sign for the Elite Four, but this dragon didn't stand a chance. Next is Delcatty and I stay in for return. Assist into Psychic seems good, but it could have been way worse. Way worse. Now comes Magneton and there isn't a real strategy besides switching into Dustox and let it go. Don't know why I chose the one Pokemon which cannot deal any relevant damage and is able to tank almost any hit easily. But anyway, after several turns it went down, letting me use Blaziken next to just use one move to hit and KO Magneton. Wally's ace Gardevoir is very strong, but I got so lucky, it's actually disgusting. Secret Power can let Gardevoir flinch, and that is exactly what happened twice in a row to defeat it. Last is Roselia, and it is weak to Blaze Kick, which is also the last time I will have Blaze Kick on Blaziken. Wally is defeated, and the way to the Elite Four is now open to me. I leveled everyone up to 45. My team was nearly there anyway. I don't think the champion is doable at all, but let's try anyway. The Elite Four of Ruby, Sapphire and Emerald start off with Sydney, basing his team on Dark-type Pokemon. That is quite nice for my team, considering it has one of the best Fighting-type Pokemon and some Bug-types. First is Beautifly against my Dustox. Intimidate doesn't matter, but this sand attack was cruel. I missed not once, not even twice, but 3 times in a row and go down before making any move at all. I bring in Blaziken now to use one Brick Break and Beautifly is defeated. Next is Shiftry, but my Fire Chicken is faster using Flamethrower, which I got from the game corner, and the Pokemon is burned to a crisp. Now comes Absol, but it doesn't matter. Brick Break hits and snaps this Dark-type Pokemon in half. Crawdont, however, is dangerous. Brick Break did not KO, it just a little bit of HP left, but Surf comes and knocks my Pokemon out from full. Linoon comes in, and while Sydney uses full restores in combat, I can use 2 return to defeat Crawdont, taking my revenge. Last is Cacturne, and this Pokemon cannot really do anything here. First Ice Beam did over half and the next one will KO, doesn't matter which move is used. Sydney is defeated. The first Elite Four member is done. Next is Phoebe, the Ghost-type specialist, and this battle is a bit hard to go through. It's quite strong and some Pokemon are very tanky. She leads with Dusclops against my Dustox. It always uses Protect first, so my move doesn't really matter. Right afterwards I go for Toxic and hope to stall it out this way. Using Protect and Moonlight to get some hits in, but Confuse made me switch into Beautifly, using one bite to knock Dusclops out. Next is Banette, but I just hope it cannot do a lot to me, and I was right. Using 2 bites to KO Banette as well. Now comes the first issue, Sableye. I didn't know what to do and switched into Dustox. I used Toxic again and then realized that Double Team might screw me over big time. Since Dustox cannot deal any damage with Psychic, I have to switch into Linoon. But at that point, Sableye already used too many Double Teams, and on top, Phoebe uses a full restore to bring Sableye's HP back up. That went on for a while until Linoon goes down against faint attacks. Using Dustox again, trying to get off Toxic once more, but it won't happen. The damage is just too much and double team raised the evasion too high. Eventually, Dustox goes down too. Feeling already defeated, I bring in Blaziken and use Flamethrower, which hits. That's a nice surprise, even defeating Sableye in the process. Another Banette comes in and I can continue now, but Psychic dealt so much damage, nearly defeating my first partner Pokemon, which boosts the firepower immensely. Another hit and Banette is done. Last Pokemon is Dusclops and I was so very happy to see Flamethrower's damage over half easily, but it's the end of the road for Blaziken. I bring in Mightyena and see Citrusberry recovering the HP. Do I need to try again? Bite deals the perfect amount to be in range for another hit and at the same time out of range for the last full restore. Phoebe is out of Pokemon and that means only 2 members left to defeat. Glacier is the next Elite Four member and unfortunately Blaziken is the perfect counter here. Maybe not perfect, but it's able to do some nasty things. The battle was quite easy. I used Blaziken, pressed on Bullcup twice while having a Cherry Berry equipped just in case against a Body Slam, and then proceeded to use Brick Break 5 times to beat the whole team. A very nice and simple battle for a change, I like it. Not even Glacier's Ace Warrain stood a chance, maybe 2 boosts were too much, but I thought I get it for free anyway, so why not use it? Glacier is defeated and there's only one more Elite Four member to defeat. Last Elite Four member is Drake, the Dragon type specialist. Quite frankly, this battle is not doable for me. What I show right now is the by far best try I got, and the only try I was able to see Salamence in the first place. My team is just weak, that's all there is to it. The best Pokemon I have to beat Drake is Linoon, and even that is quite questionable since it's not a good special attacker. Let me level up a bit more and see how it turns out. I level up to 50 before starting the Elite Four, and while leveling, I thought to myself that this might be a bit too much already, but let's find out. First up Shelgon against my Blaziken. I use Bullcup first and then need 2 Brick Break to KO. Shelgon could use some Dragon Claw or Rock Tomb to damage me, and it is actually very important to see Rock Tomb. Next is Flygon and I switch out into Beautifly to negate the Earthquake, just to tank a Flamethrower barely, and then proceed to use Stun Spore to slow it down, while hitting with Giga Drain for some damage. The HP are not relevant. I bring in Linoon now, and thanks to Giga Drain and Stun Spore, it's an easy KO with Ice Beam. Altaria enters the arena and I see a Dragon Dance while Ice Beam hits for way over half. Double Edge hits for a lot too, which is an issue now, but that comes into play a bit later. Now Kingdra is a huge issue. I bring in Dustox for the good, tried and true strategy of Toxic. Protect, but this time I use Psychic instead of Moonlight. Toxic alone won't be enough thanks to full restores, so I have to help a bit so that it's enough in the end. And it's so close to get the job done with 2 Psychics and a lot of Toxic damage. Last is Salamence and this Pokemon nearly defeated me again. Dustox loses to a single Flamethrower. I bring in Mightyena next. Idea was to deal a bit of damage for the Ice Beam KO, but it didn't work out. Mightyena went down after only 1 Crunch use. Linoon in and it is slower, getting destroyed by a Dragon Claw. That's it, a loss again. Blaziken might survive a hit, so Bullcup it is. And there goes nothing. Hyper Beam! Which was enough? Drake is out of Pokemon. I was able to beat him? Only the champion is left to do. The champion is brutal. I have no chance whatsoever, but I know how to beat him easily. It will be so easy, it's actually depressing. Let's skip this loss and see what I have in mind. When Linoon reaches level 53, it learns Belly Drum, losing half of my HP to increase the attack to the maximum. That's it, that's all I need. Wallace loves water type Pokemon and he actually uses the best water types of the region, besides Swampert. Not using Swampert should be punishable, and that's what Linoon is here for. The strategy is quite simple, using Dustox first, trying to deal some damage, but it goes down quite fast. No Linoon in, and I misclicked on Ice Beam, but it seems this was the actual correct way to do it, since I go down to 90 HP, which is just 5 HP over half. No, just using Belly Drum, while Wallace uses a full restore and the stage is set. 1 return, KO. Next is, doesn't matter, 1 return and KO. That happens 4 more times until the team is defeated. I love power-up moves, but I can understand that they are not perfect. Anyway, the battle comes to an end. Wallace is defeated, I finally beat the champion, but the run is still not over yet. There's one more challenge to do. The last battle of the run is against Steven, the real and true champion of Pokemon Emerald. I thought level 65 is fair, it's at least 10 levels under his team, but winning wasn't too clear. I let my first partner Pokemon shine. The battle begins with Skarmory against my first partner Pokemon Blaziken. One flamethrower easily KOs, thanks to the shark hole from Lava Ridge Town. Next is Agron and I go for Bullcup to take a big earthquake hit. That is actually very important because the ability Blaze is active now and one Sky Uppercut beats Agron in one go. Metagross, Steven's ace, is here and one flamethrower knocks it out. Again Blaze and Shark Hole very strong. When Armaldo arrived, I switched out into Mightyena. Intimidate is very strong, but also I can start dealing some damage with Crunch. I need 2 hits in before Mightyena goes to the Pokemon Center, and it worked out perfectly. Blaziken back in and one flamethrower from that HP range defeats it, taking revenge for Mightyena. Claydol is very strong, and I switch into Beautifly, negating Earthquake, and I can deal some small amount of damage with Giga Drain, but it's not good enough before going down. Linoon in, it's time for Belly Drum, removing half of my HP, but Earthquake hits and crits, defeating Linoon immediately. Well, that happened. Dustox has to manage it now, and it's Toxic Stall time. Using it, then go for Protect and Moonlight, hoping to survive, which actually just barely worked out. Claydol loses, and I think it's actually on the spot. Last Pokemon to beat is Cradily, and I went for Toxic out of habit, but it should have been Sludge Bomb, no question about it. Anyway, Blaziken is my last Pokemon, my last hope, but I can only use Flamethrower and hope for the best. It actually knocks it out, being a critical hit, amazing. Steven is out of Pokemon. Team First Road is the new champion of Pokemon Emerald. Thank you for watching, please like, comment and subscribe. I see you in the next one.